Hello, good evening. Welcome along to the MODUS Super Series Friday night's Tungsten Delights. Should be delightful here in Group B. If it's anything like last night, we're going to see tight encounters, good averages and top-notch finishing. This is what's coming up later on.
And the champion is still in the race to retain his crown. This would be for a second ton topper in this match. 2 from 2 in that particular department. Will give himself a dart of double 16. Oh, his finishing has been so on point. To finish off a delightful contest in style. He's going to get a dart at tops for another 110 finish. 2 darts at double 15 for a 2-1 lead.
Well, what an intriguing night we have got ahead of us. And we're going to be watching all of it in the company of Mace the Ace, Chris Mason. And if this evening is anything like last night's action, we're going to be in for quite the ride.
Yeah, we had a fabulous session last night. Some, as you've mentioned, some real close games, some high quality affairs, plenty of ton plus outs, plenty of big scores. And this one's going to go down to the wire. Someone's going to walk away this evening, a bit like this afternoon, a little bit disappointed.
Well, we saw Group C culminate this afternoon, and we saw Joe Croft and Steve Hine make their way through. And trust me, it was not as easy as that one little bit. The last 2 games were actually knockout matches to see who progressed through. And it was Joe Croft and Steve Hine that held their nerve, but it could have gone in any which direction.
Yeah, I'm sure Jimi Hendrix is reflecting and thinking what could have been, because he really did play well over the last couple of days, and just the odd off game here and there, and it's ultimately proved costly. But I think worthy qualifiers in Steve Hine and Joe Croft. I think they'll be up for it tomorrow night.
As will Scott Taylor, the defending champion, who is looking to reclaim that title, which he won around about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's watching everybody go through the ringer at the moment, and my goodness, didn't they go through the ringer in Group C? And I can see similar tonight, so they're going to be knocking lumps out of each other while he's got his feet up, watching them go through it. Well,
let's have a look at the table then at the halfway stage of Group B. Three-way tie at the top of it. Neil Duff, Chaz Barstow, Adam Lipscomb, all on 6 points. Chris Quantock on 2, and we were breaking down the numbers earlier on this evening. He can feel quite aggrieved to only be on that number.
Yeah, his averages stack up with everybody else, with the exception of Neil Duff, who averaged over 91 for the night. That's an outstanding effort over 4 matches, especially in that company. But the beauty of being in that company, you're not going to get embroiled in them long-winded matches, and he certainly didn't get involved last night. Quani's numbers as good as the 2 above him, not so with Neil Duff as mentioned. So if he continues to play to the level he played at last night and gets a little bit more good fortune tonight, he may just about pinch the final spot out of Group B.
Well, Neil Duff had the opportunity to go through the card perfectly, but was stopped in the final game of the session by Chaz Barstow. 2 110 finishes that really did change the game.
Yeah, Chaz looked like he had something like that in the locker. He's been playing very well locally, mopping up a lot smaller tournaments, but high quality fields. And listen, confidence breeds confidence. No matter where you're doing it, if you're doing it against Dave from the Dog and Duck, if you're playing well in the process, that's all that matters for him. And it was shown there with those brilliant finishes. And yeah, it's a bit tough really, because I wanted to see Chris Quantock in tomorrow night's final, but I'd like to see all the rest of them through, but unfortunately, square pegs, round holes, only 3 from 5 can go through.
Well, we can't talk about ton plus finishes without talking about Adam Lipscomb. He was the king of them, 5 of them all told.
Yeah, he's just had a different look about him. He even starting off the week in Group A, just looks a lot more assured and a lot more confident. He's taking his time. He's not rushing opportunities. He's giving himself a bit of a deep breath and giving those doubles every chance to go in, and it's paying dividends. I think he's been absolutely outstanding for the week. We're into day 5 of this competition, and his running average is still in excess of 88, which is high quality stuff when you think of all the players that have played here. There's very few that can boast numbers like that over the course of a week.
Well, a matter of fact, the Ton Plus were flying in off the lampshades last night. This is how everything stacked up. Lipscomb with 5 of them. The only player actually who didn't hit a Ton Plus checkout last night was the man who is top of the pile, Neil Duff.
Yeah, well, I think he was playing so well. He didn't get too many opportunities. He was sort of leaving a lot of shots in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But yeah, incredible. 11 Ton Plus average, Ton Plus outs in one session. It is super stuff.
11 Ton Plus averages would be good as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't it ever? We're only having 10 games.
Right, let's have a look at the betting then for this evening's session. Well, they go Chaz Barstow as the favourite at 5-4. When you consider Neil Duff is top of the table and you consider that Neil Duff was within a dart of completing the card, is that a little bit of a surprise in your opinion?
Yeah, again, I think they're frightened to move too much, but in terms of numbers going into it, Neil Duff was the superior player of all 5 players in that, well, 4 other players in that session. As we've already mentioned, averaging, I think it was a good 5 points higher than his nearest rival, and that's a big gap to bridge. So maybe that 6-4 represents some value. He's certainly right up for it tonight, and he's done what he's always done. Just plods along in Group A, gets better and better and better. Turns up on the Thursday night or Thursday afternoon sometimes and produces the goods.
18 plus, biggambleway.org if you can have a flutter on the Super Series tonight. Right, our first game of the session sees Chaz Barstow in action. He beat Neil Duff in a last leg decider with one of those fabled 110 checkouts. The man from Winchester is really becoming at home with the Portsmouth setup, having been so successful when this was the live league back in Southampton. Looking to make it through 2 successive Champions Weeks here for the first time. He knows how tough a task he has ahead of him, and he's going to do exactly that. He caught up with me earlier on this evening to talk about this week, his upturn in form and how he sees 2024 going.
Chaz, night 2 for yourself here at the Super Series, and at the end of yesterday you really had to dig in against Neil.
Yeah, it's a tough game, tough week and a tough group, so yeah, found it in the last leg against Neil luckily, so yeah, it was all good.
2 110 finishes in there. That said a lot about how at times when you need it, you can come up clutching moments.
I'm playing well at the minute, and you know those pressure moments when you're playing well, you seem to find. So, yeah, when I needed it, I've done it. It wasn't great last night, but I've done what I needed to do.
A lot of the time we compare to what we saw at the beginning of Southampton here at the Super Series. Where do you say your form is now in comparison to that?
It's getting there. Locally at the minute, I'm playing very well. Winning quite a bit of stuff, and my form's right up there. I've had quite a few hundred averages. Not quite there here yet, but I can feel it coming back. I would say it's 80-90% there.
In fact, you got to Champions League last time and it feels like you're knocking on the door again. Does it feel like you're going in the right path, the right direction?
Yeah, it feels good at the minute. Everything's going well, and I'm playing well, and it shows. So it's all going good at the minute.
In terms of tonight, really tight group, 3 tied at the top, and we know the quality that Chris and Devon have got as well.
Yeah.
It's almost going back to the well again, isn't it?
It's going to be tight tonight. Yeah, you've got to get out the blocks quick and get some results quick. I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to be a bit of a hairy one.
Well, it's never not a challenge here, and we wish you all the best, Chaz. Good luck.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Well, Barstow was brilliant in beating Neil Duff in the final game of the session last night. Duff 3-1 to the good. Felt he should have won that game when I spoke to him earlier on today, but it was Barstow who picked the points up. It means we have a 3-way tie at the top of the table, and it should be a real intriguing affair, this one, to kick us off. Barstow was quite slow out the gate. He got the better with Devon Petersen 4-1, but averaged 74.34. Be interesting whether that is a trend. As for Duff, the 51-year-old from Ballyclare, the former WDF world champion, we know that he gets better as the week goes along. As for Chaz Barstow, he's having a bit of a second wind following that fantastic gear, which culminated in him taking the first set off of Michael Van Gerwen at the World Championships. What do we expect to see tonight, Chris Mason?
Quality. That's what I expect. Him and Chris Quantock, very, very similar averages, but different fortunes.
First leg, it's Neil to throw first.
In fact,
game on.
The finishing of Chris Quantock was outstanding. Just didn't create enough chances.
Well, Duff for the first start of the night. Duff for the first maximum of the night.
180.
The perfect start.
42.
In terms of the numbers
45.
last night, we mentioned it at the top of the programme. Neil Duff was by far and by way the best player in the group in terms of the average. 5 points ahead of the next best player.
100.
91.33 and 15 out of 41 when it came to the finishing last night.
60.
Which equates to a percentage of 36.5%.
58.
And he's going about the job in this first leg quite nicely indeed.
140.
If this afternoon was a group where players called towards the line, you get the sense that this is going to be a group that's going to have a complete and utter antithesis to that statement.
Yes, almost
41.
feels like
It
one of the
requires
players is just going to
76.
grab the bull by the horns, no pun intended, and really stamp their authority on the group. But good luck doing that, because
36.
like we've already mentioned many times, there's not a lot between them, with the exclusion and exception of Devon Petersen. But
100.
I think we
Now
all
require
expected that.
40.
himself included, but he's certainly not disheartened. He's enjoying his
Change on the
time here.
first leg.
Been doing
Neil Duff.
lots of different bits of filming, which will be on our YouTube channel.
Second leg, it's Chaz to throw first. Game on.
Good evening, Ricky.
100.
Yeah, do get in touch with us via our handles on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at MSS Darts. And if you're a subscriber to the
121.
Super Series YouTube channel, you can have a chat with Mace in the chat room. Come and join the chat room, fam.
100.
Don't encourage them, Henry. I've already read enough drivel to last me the entire session.
100.
Any of your mates on there yet?
22.
Not yet.
Here's a bit of content for the social team. Chris Mason's best roast compilation.
100.
Stuart McNally. Good evening, Stuart. Evening, Mason Henry.
134.
I'm sure we're in for a cracking night. Yep, I agree.
Great to see Michael Van Gerwen in on his night off as well.
30. Charge of require
Funny enough, I
145.
spoke to Michael not too long ago. I don't think he was planning on watching the Super Series this evening. I think he's got something else a little bit more important on.
85. Now we require 150.
150 for a 2-0 lead. This will be as well for the breaker throw, where we saw a plethora of ton plus finishes last night.
Game
And Neil
shot
Duff
the
delivers the
second
first
leg.
of this evening.
Neil
The
Duff.
150 is nailed to break the throw and to lead 2-0. And once again against Chaz
Third leg, it's
Barstow, Neil
to
Duff
throw
holds all the
first.
aces.
Game on.
But he knows that Barstow can mount a comeback charge.
Player hitting on 180, then hit something
57.
below 60 is like a golfer hitting a birdie, then getting a bogey at the very next hole. Yeah, because that never happens. Ever.
57.
Well, he's a man of the cloth. You'll see some of that cloth tomorrow night.
140.
Yeah, I'm going to be dressed in my Saturday best.
100.
Yep, we always get dressed up sharp, don't we, on a Saturday evening at the Super Series?
40. $140.
Evening, Kieran.
Well, Barstow potentially threatening the break back in this leg. Duff needs a treble here to leave himself on an out.
60.
And so now it is 6 darts for Barstow from 204 to take out the third. He has wrestled the ascendancy of foe in this third leg.
44.
He's himself on 160. Doesn't really make the inroads that he would have liked. Because Duff's got such a margin by way of legs difference going into this evening's session, a big win here would more than put him in the box seat. And if he could pin his second ton topper in successive legs, then
60.
he finds
Now we
himself
require
in cruise
104.
control in this match. Triple 20 for double 12. Double 12 it is. It
92.
was almost double delight
Guys,
in
you
the ton
require
plus
100.
department there for Neil Duff. Treble 15. Would have given him a dart at tops, and so Duff will come back for double 6 for a 3-0 lead.
40.
He was up 3-1
Now
in
we
this
require
battle
12.
yesterday.
I think we need to put one of them sticky things on for about how you can qualify for the Super Series. It's probably one of the most asked questions.
Game shot in the third.
Head over
leg.
to ADC,
Neil
Amateur
Duff.
Darts Circuit, or Darts Atlas. All the information there.
Fourth leg is
We
chance to
will
throw
play
first.
that
Game
promo video which we've got from the ADC for you as well. I'll tell you what we should do. We should do an FAQs. So we should do frequently asked questions on like the ADC and how you can
93.
qualify, the different systems in which you can play here.
Yeah, I thought we'd done a video like that already. If not, there we go. Social media team.
60.
Get someone to knock one of those together, then we could just point them in the direction of that.
60.
Like our on-air team meetings, Mace.
$97. $60.
David, don't know what his last name is. Is this the equivalent of League 2 or non-league soccer? Don't know.
42.
I wouldn't even know where it would fit in that landscape, Henry, would you?
I don't think it's anything to be knocked at if it was, if you did say it was
100.
the National League, because you look at what that's done. I mean, Luton gone from the National League to the Premier League, and I suppose we've kind of done something similar with players like Luke Littler and players like Scott Williams and the
132.
like of many countless others that you can probably talk on the back of your hand about. It's a development path for players, but also an opportunity to really carve out a living in the sport.
134. Now we require 170.
Barca leads himself on 54. Duff 170 for the match. The bullseye
132.
doesn't go.
32. Judge require 54.
You can sense his frustration. He wanted to win it to 0. Barstow's going to get a couple of goes at tops.
34.
First one bent the wire, the second
Now we
dragged
require
low.
38.
And so Duff for the whitewash win.
Someone's saying here you can win the ADC, but if you don't average over 80, you still won't be on the MODUS. Absolute nonsense. If you win the qualifier, you win the
No
qualifier.
score.
You're in.
Judge require 20.
Double 10. 2 5s. Doesn't go, and that could be his last chance.
Yeah,
16.
disastrous start to the night.
Now we require 38.
This time goes straight for it.
No
Oh
score.
my, he's busted again. That's the second time he's busted that in 2
required.
visits.
4.
Looks to the bottom left-hand side and a smaller portion of the bottom left-hand side.
No score.
But he gets the third betwixt the first
Now we
2.
require 38.
Third time the charm. Double 16. Another go at it for the match. And Duff gets up and running with a 4-0 victory. It puts him in a very good position to qualify. Duff the winner by 4 legs to 0. He beats Chaz Barstow. does the job, which he felt like he should have done yesterday. It wasn't a classic match, but Duff up and running. Coming up next, we're going to see Devon Petersen return to the stage. He takes on the local favourite. It's the baby boy. It's Adam Lipscomb. Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Before the break, Neil Duff got his campaign up and running for the evening, getting the better with Chaz Barstow by 4-0. That moves him on to 8 points, the first player to do so. Adam Lipscomb can join him there if he gets the better of Devon Petersen, who took Lipscomb to a last leg decider, the 37-year-old African warrior man we've seen many a time at a World Championship. As for Lipscomb, he's looking for a first time into a Saturday night here in his hometown of Portsmouth. And if he does, this place will be packed to the rafters. It will be jumping. It will be bouncing for baby boy.
It will be some atmosphere. Right, here we go again. Kevin Pryor. Who's
First
commentating tomorrow
Devon
night?
to
Myself
throw
and Paul
first.
Nicholson. The same
Game
question
on.
you asked last night. And Henry will be presenting. Write it down on a bit of paper, and then when you forget, you can have a look and see who's commentating tomorrow night.
43.
Do you think the music is also annoying? Turn it down. Yes, Lender, we'll be in touch with
100.
regards to that. I know all about your index, as I'm a keen fan of that. Sporty
85.
stuff is no more. It's deceased. The ads on YouTube were a joke. How much do you pay to watch our coverage on YouTube? Just remind me of that one.
95.
If you don't like the ads, pay to take the ads off. We don't get anything from it, but that might keep you a little happier. Right, anybody else?
100.
There we go. Hope that's cleared that up. Just sit. You know what I do when I put sport on that I enjoy? I just sit down and
140.
maybe have a cup of chamomile tea and a biscuit and sit back and enjoy it.
I think more than anything else, the thing I've learned more than anything else is May says chamomile tea.
60.
Love a cup of chamomile late at night.
Real good first leg this for Adam Lipscomb, leaving tops after 12, putting the Petersen throw under all heaps of pressure.
79. Adam, you require 40.
Up tops for a breaker throw and a 1-0 lead. Adam.
20. Devon, you require
And Devon, of course.
134.
Played in the penultimate match, and it was Devon's best performance, wasn't it?
Well, he threatened the 1-3-4 last night in the first leg of his
127.
campaign, and he scared it on the double wire again there. Double 5.
Game shot
And
the
it goes.
first leg.
Lipscomb breaks.
Adam
Leads
Lipscomb.
by 1-0.
Second leg, it's Adam to throw first.
Oh,
Game
David in with another little chip. Always laugh when they say it would pack to the rafters. There's about 30 people in.
138.
Wow.
83.
30 more people than ever watch you play darts, mate. You got schooled by Deacon.
135. 100.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a warm cup of Horlicks made with milk.
84. 100. Adam, you require 144.
For 2-0, and he's got 6 darts.
$54.
Oh no, Jamie, it's totally manufactured, I can assure you.
140.
I'm not annoyed,
Adam,
Kevin.
you require 90.
Just a little bored with repeating myself to you.
12-15, great recovery for Tots, a 2-0.
50. Devon, you require
How's it
78.
going? So Petersen's going to get another opportunity. He missed a dart to win the first leg. He's going to get one to win the second at tops.
50.
Drags below, and so Lipscomb comes back for
Adam, you
Tots for a
require
2-0
40.
lead. Double 10. Does it go?
For 2-zip.
Game shot on the second.
How good has he
leg.
been? Well,
Adam
he's just
Lipscomb.
regrouped prior to a last start so far this week.
Third leg, it's Devon to throw first. $45. 60.
This is more like it from Devon.
Whoa!
His first max of the
180.
evening.
It's still in there somewhere, isn't it?
85.
Well, you say it so often. It's a bit like a boxer. The last thing you learn how to do and what to do is to punch.
Yeah, and in
82.
darts, you always seem to have a 180 somewhere in the locker.
Like I say,
58.
again, we don't know how the scheduling works, but I feel like there would have been so much benefit if Devon was able to have a full week stint here.
Yeah, I think he had a
138.
few other commitments, but I'm sure he'll be back in the near future, where I do hope he does consider
100. Devon, you require
Doing a week.
56.
This is to bring it back to 2-1, and he's got a plethora of time at tops to do that.
36.
Goes below. He is going to return for double 10. Lipscomb can only apply pressure.
And he's done just that.
140. Devon, you require 20.
Real pressure on this.
Game shot on the
But
third.
Petersen is up to the
Devon
task, brings it
Petersen.
back to 2-1, because that was a little bit of a test for Devon, just to see how things stacked up when Lipscomb was just
Fourth leg, it's Adam
pushing
to
on the
throw
shoulder a
first.
little bit. But the Lipscomb response is a perfect one.
100.
Well, Adam Lipscomb had the most famous 9 darter here hit against him. Could the roles reverse here?
140.
He went 5 deep.
So much room, wasn't there?
The biggest surprise was he didn't find the 6th.
100.
Yeah, would be lovely, but priority number 1 for Adam Lipscomb is accruing the points
81.
and getting himself in the finals night for the very first time.
Well, the last 9 darter hit at the Super Series is by a man that we're going to be watching next week in
140.
Andreas Harrison, hit it
100.
against a fellow Andreas, Toff Jorgensen. There's no Andreas fault there.
I like it. Clever.
60. Devin Ibakoy, 161.
The 161 isn't going to go for Petersen. What can Lipscomb do with
48.
tops? He's left it again
Adam
after
Ibakoy,
12. It's the second time he's
40.
done that in this match.
No, you can't, Ronnie. Go and change your man pad.
Double 10.
30.
Clipped across.
Devin Ibakoy, 113.
Still waiting for Max Hop at the MODUS. Well, may not have to wait too long.
81. Adam Ibakoy, 10.
For 3-1, and Petersen is breathing down his neck for a level game,
on the
but
fourth
Lipscomb
leg. Adam
holds his
Lipscomb.
nerve when Petersen was asking a couple of questions. 3-1 it is to Baby Boy.
Fifth leg, it's Devon to throw first.
Now, we've both
Game
been
on.
so impressed with Adam Lipscomb this week, but I think we're going to learn another thing tonight, because we know how close he's been to a Saturday night on so many occasions. We're going to realise how he's going to deal with the
100.
pressure and probably amongst his peers that want to come and watch him tomorrow night, the expectation that's going to come with it.
Jamie Reid, any advice for
100.
trying to get out of poor form? Was sometimes it's best just to put them down and maybe just take a week, maybe 2 weeks
23.
off, and then just try and break your throw down and rebuild. Other times it's best just to play through it if you can.
125.
Can it sometimes be circumstantial? So say, for example, for somebody who has a full-time job, maybe if work's becoming strenuous, maybe put the darts away and focus
Yeah.
on that, and then...
It all contributes to,
45.
for some people, in a slump in form. And just naturally you'll go through peaks and troughs of form anyway.
60.
Lipscomb could be reaching his Portsmouth peak by making it through to his first Saturday night final. Win here, put him on to 8 points, put him in a very good position with Chris Quantock to play Chaz Barstow next. If Barstow wins that, you'd say it's probably pretty much done already.
180.
And Lipscomb, for the 3rd time in 5 legs in this match, has left himself on a double after 12 darts. This has been a real good display off the
140.
bat
Adam Ibakoy, 36.
for Baby Boy. And he
Game
rounds it off
shot
with a
of the
13 dart
match,
leg. And you can
Adam
see what it means to
Lipscomb.
him. It's a big night for Baby Boy. And he has done the first task of what is a massive mountain for him to climb. He hasn't made a Saturday night before. And he is hoping to make it for the very first time. He opens up with a 4-1 win against Devon Petersen. An average of 90.63, and that was despite 13 missed darts and a double. His scoring at times immaculate. For Petersen, those are way more positive signs. We are now going to watch Chris Quantock in action for the very first time this evening. He's in action up against Chaz Barstow. We'll be watching dart for dart after this short break. Game 3, and it sees Chaz Barstow in action up against Chris Quantock. And straight off the bat, Quanny is involved in a massive, massive match. He'll feel like his performances on day 1 warranted more. 85.67 was his overall average, and he was just under 50% on the finishing. He was 11 from 24, but it was only good enough to yield the solitary 2 points from his campaign. And if he loses this one, he'll find himself 6 points behind 3 players with 6 points for him left to play for. He could find himself in the Swanee, could Quanny, very, very quickly. The man from York, well, he may be heading back up there on a stalk.
Impressive. How many years at uni?
27 grand worth of student debt for that.
Alliteration, well done.
First leg, it's Chaz
Now,
to
someone
throw
did
first.
ask a very
Game on.
important question regarding the influencer event. So I'll let you tell them when,
140.
how they get a ticket, if there's any left, which I'm
98.
led to believe that they're selling very fast. Off you go, Henry.
Well, it's on Sunday, April the 28th here at the
58.
Live Lounge. I believe it starts around about midday. Dartshop.tv is the place to go for that. And I'm going to do some magic for you, mates.
81.
Because 3, 2, 1, da-da! That is the QR code you need to scan if you want to put your ticket to that event. We are actually going to
58.
stream it live on YouTube as well, with full live commentary and presentation on that particular encounters as well.
52.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of interaction.
And importantly, and most importantly as well, plenty
96.
of money being raised for charity, i.e. Chris
Absolutely.
Mason's pay rise.
Yeah, I wish.
140. Judge back 149.
Takes him down to an easier finish of the two.
And he's going to get a go at the little fish with Barstow
75.
unable
Richard
to
Back
take out the
130.
149. Well, it was 3 for 3 on his doubles in his first game yesterday. It included a ton topper or 2.
58. Judge requires 74.
And so for the first leg of his night, because he was brushed 4-0 by Duff in his opening encounter. 71 remaining. Triple 17 for double 10 was the intended play, but a couple of wild ones.
66.
But he
Christopher
recovers it well with the
72.
last dart to leave himself on a double if Quantock cannot take out the 72. Dart at tops to break.
52.
Drag below.
Judge require 8.
Further away.
4.
And then over adjusts.
Christian required 20.
I think he's aware after the 4-0 drubbing in the opening game, it's imperative he tries to right that wrong. And they're both on the wire.
Game shot.
But
the
in it goes.
first leg.
Quantock breaks. And you get the
Chris
sense that
Quantock.
every single moment from the get-go this evening is so important for Chris
Second against
Quantock.
Chris to throw first. Game on.
Here's a nice question. Very sensible. Aaron Evans. Chris, what are your opinions on these darts coaches, people who've never had a talk card or
180.
played in a system?
59.
Well, some of the best football managers which are coaches, aren't they? Were never
140.
great footballers. Some of the greatest golf coaches. Some of the best snooker coaches.
96.
None I know of, and I know quite a few within snooker, and they would never.
60.
Sometimes you may not be able to
84. Christian record 121.
produce what you try and portray, but you understand the increments of that said sport.
81.
Well, sometimes they label to great players who turn into coaches is because they were so good as players when they train on the training field.
92.
They actually get frustrated because they feel like everybody should do what they did in their career.
Yeah, that's why some of the greatest sportsmen don't make great broadcasters.
Game shot in the second leg. Chris
They see
Quantock.
it from their eyes rather than the eyes of the player. Who's
So
doing
let's chance
commentary
to throw
next week? I
first.
believe
Game
it's
on.
you and Nico.
Me and Glenn next
Oh,
week.
you and Glenn Durrant. My apologies.
Me, Glenn, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Chris Murphy's going to join us for a few days.
58.
Thursday and Friday to join Glenn. And then Murph's going to move into the presenter's chair next Saturday. And it's going to be myself and Scotty Dog Mitchell to commentate on the final
43.
10 games of darts next week. Always enjoy my forays with Glenn and Scott.
180.
I have a few days home before heading to Munich for the Euro Tour on Friday, which starts on Saturday.
60.
Note to anybody in Munich next weekend, can we please make sure Chris Mason is wearing a lederhosen? Thanks.
101. $43.
It's very much like Glenn, although he was, a great dart player. Although he may not be able to get his own game
84.
to where he wants it. Maybe that's a psychological reason rather than a mechanical one. He understands
100.
more
Judgment
because
178.
of the struggles he's had, which is probably why he's very popular in the coaching world.
38.
And obviously Glenn comes from a background from sales and things like that, so he's always come from a job where he's able to eloquently explain
60.
things to
Judgment
people.
required 40.
That did Paul Nicholson, didn't he? I can't remember exactly what, but it was something to do with public speaking and something like that back in Australia at the time.
Game
Barstow takes out the double 10 to
Chaz
bring it back to
Barstow.
2-1.
Fourth leg, it's Chris to throw
David.
first. Game on.
May need a little nap.
137. $99. $83. $121.
Well, Quantock knew straight away he needed to
123.
find a big result, otherwise he would find himself in a bit of peril, and he looks like he could be meandering slowly but surely
96.
towards that
Christopher
possible position.
158.
He has got 6 on 158 to open up a 3 legs to 1 lead here.
58.
Left a solid ton after 12.
58. Christian require 100.
Tops was the intention, but not the
60.
execution.
Shazia require
127 to level the
127.
game. 219 would have left the ball, and so Quantock's going to come back for 3 more at tops to open up a 3 legs to 1 lead in this match.
43. Christian require 40.
Oh dear. Just completely lost the timing of that turn.
8.
And what was it we were saying not too long ago? Quantock's in a position where he needs everything to go his way tonight. And so moments like this, as early as this, could be catastrophically fatal. But Barstow cannot bet the bull.
Christian
Yeah,
require
Barstow, not the
32.
type of player you want to give chances to.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Chris
Here's one.
Quantock.
Chris, what in your opinion is an adequate ban for Adam Smith-Neal? I agree
If
with
they get
Matt
a chance
Edgar,
to
it
throw
needs to be
first.
lengthy. Well, it's
Game
not
on.
like anybody got hurt, is it? On a more serious note, I think he'll get a ban that means he can't go to Q school and then the rest of it suspended.
59. $140.
Back-to-back 140s for Barstow.
Looking to put in a counter punch on Quantock.
100.
Because if Barstow
57.
wins this, he may as well, or could well, KO Quantock here.
100. Charge of 164.
He's got 6 on 164.
99.
He's himself 65 to bring it back to 3-2. But Quantock will have the darts in the next. The next leg is the big challenge for Barstow.
80.
And because
Charge
of
of
the
65.
bounce out with the last, Quantock's left on a bogey. 14 tops. Tops of Barstow.
Game shot on the
3-2.
fifth leg.
This
Chaz
is
Barstow.
the leg as far as Chris Quantock is concerned. This is the one he has to use
Six leg,
sense,
Chris
take
Patrick
the match
first.
out, because
Game
this is the one in which he has the darts in. Barstow, we've already seen this week, has got the powers of recovery. He did it last night from
100.
3-1 down against Neil Duff. Those 2-1-10 finishes to seal a 4-3 victory.
Right, Vater asked the questions. How are the groups
81.
composed? Why start a person in Group A and have 2 chances and others have 1 chance in Group B or C? Often availability.
58.
99% of these players have full-time jobs, including the 2 up here now. And not every player is
80.
available for a whole week. The whole week tends to be more available for those that are having to do extensive travel. And then regards
45.
to Champions Week, it's the ones with the highest averages have the option of playing first. James Webster, I've often wondered, is Chris
99.
Quantock any relation to John Quantock? Yes, it's his son. Remember playing with John myself.
96.
James on tour.
And Chris could be on the
81.
cusp of a 4-2 victory. Barstow's left himself first to a finish, but Quantock will be hoping to leave it more handy.
56.
But is unable to
Charge of
do so.
160.
Another one of them. Gives himself a dart at tops to send us all the way.
140. Christopher Corn,
He hopes that
146.
Quantock doesn't take this out.
99. Judge required 20.
I will answer your question, Kieran, but not before. Oh dear. He asked, would I like to see the format extended for the semi-finals and the final?
80.
Absolutely.
Christopher required 47.
Well, that's a misfire. 31 remaining. Two 14s for a 4-2 win. Well, there was just
30.
no conviction with any of the 3 there, was
Judge
there?
required
believe.
2.
Barstow's in the madhouse. Barstow will be
score.
barking mad because he couldn't find the madhouse.
Required
Yeah, be mad at
17.
Just about in the single one. He nearly burst the score like Barstow did. But
Game
Quantock
shot
comes
and the
through.
match.
Just
Chris
about.
Quantock.
He knows he needed to win that game, and win it he duly did. And it keeps the race interesting. God knows what that was. 4-2 victory for Chris Quantock against Chaz Barstow. Coming up next, I can't say that guy's name, can I? Adam Lipscomb up against Neil Duff. Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break we saw Chaz Barstow notch up back-to-back defeats to start his night. Chris Quantock winning by 4 legs to 2 to reel the Prince back in. These two are now on 8 points. Duff and Lipscomb having beaten Barstow and Petersen respectively in their opening matches. The winner here, it is pretty much job done.
Yes. This tie was a bit of a belcher last night, wasn't it? Neil getting the better of Adam. 4-2. Couple of 180s in there. An average of 94.11 for Neil Duff with 4 out of 6 on the doubles. Andy spoke to Lisa in exhibition in Scotland. Will I be playing any more MODUS and seniors? Time committing, but I hope to next year.
Game on.
Well, here's one for you, Henry. Who is a player currently playing MODUS who has the best chance of getting their tour card? There's probably a lot.
140.
There's 2 that, well, actually no, there's 3. Harrison. As Duff hits a max. Actually, no, I'm going to bring it up to 4. Harrison, Pilgrim, Crabtree, Bolton.
Scott.
Yes, of course.
100.
I said this to you the other day. I still think he's a tour card holder without having one because he plays at every event.
100.
But the problem is, when you have these conversations, a bit like we had just now, there'll be people that we forget to think about and you think, actually, we'll track the answer and go with that.
Yeah, there is lots.
180.
Which is why winning a card is an achievement these days.
On to with the chat about extending the format. Yeah, 65. I'd like to see a race to 5 in the semi and a race to 6 in the final.
Game shot in the first leg.
And Lipscomb is up and running. He opens up a 1-0 lead, wins this one, and they will be up and jumping in the Wicker Mill.
Can you imagine the atmosphere in there right now?
Well, I've actually had communications from
83.
Some of my friends from the Wicker Mill. Joe King and the gang there very much enjoying themselves tonight. It is packed to the rafters in there.
What was the gag? Why are they joking in there? What are they joking about?
81.
Oh, Joe King. Yeah, now I'm with you.
$45.
Thoughts on Ash Coleman? Really looking forward to seeing him next week. Yeah, well, I've heard nothing but good things about him. I've
30.
Not seen him play live myself. Did he win a couple of games at the UK Open or one game at the UK Open this year? And he's playing on the Challenge Tour.
85.
Putting in some very respectable numbers. Be interesting to see how he goes on the Super Series stage next week.
It's going to be a very tough Group C, isn't it, next week?
Good luck to him. Hope he has a blast.
Very tough Group C. Him, Jared Cole, Greg Ritchie. And that's going to be a very, very tough Group C to decipher. Lipscomb, Tom 40, leaves himself on 91. He's threatening the break of Duff in this second leg. And the cheers in that Porchester pub may well get louder and louder. But Duff has hit a max just to keep him honest. Tops or Lipscomb for 14 dart break. Now down for double 10. 2-0 Lipscomb. He's halfway there.
Adam Lipscomb.
Someone AJW95. I'm surprised Pilgrim to get his card. Yeah, that was a big shock to us, all of us down here at the Super Series.
Game on.
Chris, what are your thoughts on the Neil Duff throw? Yeah. Nice. Won a world title.
60.
Yeah, it's effective. He's... I mean, the elbow's nice and still. There's not a great deal of movement. Nice follow through. Very little to be critical about, if anything.
He mentioned it earlier on in the week, but he's one of those players that found his peak later on in his career. And I mentioned to you the other day that I think that Neil's playing better now than when he won that Lakeside title 2 years ago.
26.
Yeah, I sort of get where you're coming from with that. There certainly has been spells we've seen from him where he's been, well, over that week
85.
that he won, not the specials week where it was the double trouble week. He had a couple of averages in the 107s, didn't he?
And winning a second Lakeside title is very high up on the Neil Duff priority list. The pride that he had in winning that title, and he did parade it round anywhere and everywhere he could go. And I think he enjoyed being world champion so much once, he'd love to have that acclaim, the glory, the tag, the title again.
Chris, what's your favourite
62
pub you played against in terms of opposition? Oh, I wouldn't know, mate. Probably one of Gary Pinker's sides in Bristol. They always seem to have the cream of the crop.
Game shot in the third leg.
Well, that was a beautiful finish from Duff. Gets the break back. The match returns to throw. It goes back to 2-1.
Fourth leg, it's Neil to throw first.
Both players currently averaging in excess of 100.
100.
Does it 3 maximums so far in this game?
Oh, someone telling me he lost his first match in Butlins, all right. But he did qualify, winning a Riley.
66.
So that takes some doing. Evening Chad. Johnny Stewart wants to know
140.
what's the best way of not hitting the bullseye when you go for a treble 20. Get the elbow up, pal.
140.
Evening Chad.
57. $59.
Would I leave Barney on red if he texts you? He doesn't have my number.
I wonder what that could be over.
100.
Well, Lipscomb raced into a 2-0 lead in this game, but Duff's power in the scoring stakes has carved them open opportunities to level this match up. It's a ton topper for 2-2. Tops. Oh, that's beautiful from Neil Duff. His time in this evening has been bang on point. The 150 to stop Barstow in his tracks, and now the 104 to tie up against Lipscomb.
Adam to throw first. $45.
Not to sound like a broken record, Mace, but Neil Duff doing what he always does here, peaking at the right time in the week.
He's just got it down to a T, and he's in there again. Is that a third, Max? Fourth.
4 maximums, Neil. 4.
100.
That's insane.
Someone asking me if I watch football. I watched Man United against Liverpool the other Sunday, wasn't it? Yeah, I've got no dog in the race when it comes to football, so I get the benefit of just watching a great game if it's a great game.
So you won't be coming down to one of mine and Taylor's Sunday afternoons football.
I will come and watch I will come and watch Pompey play.
100.
I went to watch Stoke play once. Been to see United, Chelsea. I'd love to go to a Newcastle
45.
game.
Now you require
Newcastle.
81.
Sure, Nico can sort you out. Well, from 2-0 down, Duss got time to make it 3-2. Double 16 for 12.
65.
Averaging 103.95.
Welcome along, Josh, from Oregon. Chris, have you been to Bar 501 in Bristol? Yes, many times.
128. Now he requires 16.
Oh, to turn this game on its head, and this is some display. That's a 13 darter. What's that, 15, 14, 13?
Sick player gets Neil to throw first.
103.12. The best average we've seen this week is the 105s that we saw from Scott Taylor earlier on in the week in Group A.
140.
That's your scoring power pack.
That is seriously impressive. Adam Lipscomb, who himself is averaging close to a ton, 2 out of 3 on the doubles,
45.
just not getting a go.
If we wouldn't have just won any other match this evening, he would have cakewalked the rest of the matches so far this evening.
85.
But credit's got to go where credit's due because he is sticking in.
100.
How many times this week has Adam forced the best darts out of opponents, particularly Scott Taylor?
Yep.
140.
Lee says you're not missing much, and I'm a
Adam, you've got
Aberdeen fan.
136.
I love watching the Old Firm derbies. There was a good watch. Hey Chris, what are the
96.
chances of MODUS changing the format? In what respect?
Well, Lipscomb again. This was a key to the win against
60.
Petersen. Was leaving
Adam, you require 40.
double after 12. He's done so again here to take us all the way. Double 10. Oh no.
A wild one.
No score.
And the way
Neil,
Neil's
we require
playing, you would not
116.
put this past him. So what he had a 104 in this game. But he's not going to end on a 116. And so Lipscomb is going to get another go at tops
41.
to take us the distance.
Adam, you
Remember, the
require
winner moves on
40.
to 10, and the winner is virtually there.
Game shot on the sick flag.
There we go.
Adam
Lipscomb
Lipscomb.
free, Duff free, big leg incoming for the pair.
Yeah, and that's about right. 3 apiece.
Seven
Chris, will
from
there be
final leg,
more
it's
double-in
Adam to throw
weeks?
first.
There would be more special
Game
weeks.
on.
I'm not saying there won't ever be another double-in week, because there will be, but there's lots more other weeks we're going to do before we revert back to that one.
77.
I feel like that should be a once-a-year week. I feel like that should be our big specials week. I think it's the best one, in my opinion.
Catherine wants to know why we're no longer on Sporty, because Sporty is no more.
100.
Yeah, they end their TV transmission live next Saturday.
177.
Run by the auspices of the Racing PG TV company.
Group, yep.
60.
But if you have a smart TV, Catherine, you can still watch us on your TV, as I do at home.
97.
Only difference is that TV doesn't know whether the split's the actual darts being thrown or whether it's the crack in the middle of the glass.
Yes, they've come and collected my
122.
latest new 70-inch television for the pub. Got a new one coming next week. Actually, cancel that. It's coming tomorrow. That's my Sunday morning sorted on about 4 hours sleep.
110.
Lee Seymour, I quite like Neil's inner confidence, especially when he claimed winning the BDO World's titles for his daughter's birthday.
99.
Yes, he does. He's quietly
require
confident in his own
40.
ability.
But it's Lipscomb who has held on
Game
amidst the
shot
Duff
and the
onslaught
match.
and has sealed a
Adam
4-3 win,
Lipscomb.
which should pretty much seal his first Saturday night appearance. 10 points should be good enough. Lipscomb with the beaming smile on his face. What a performance. What a match we have seen. 96, 4 from 8, 3 from 4. Pick whatever stat you want. It was highly impressive stuff. Coming up next, Chris Quantock against Devon Petersen. The highs are still there to come. the stunning backdrop of the MODUS Live Lounge in Portsmouth, the venue for the MODUS Super Series. And this could be a very, very raucous venue tomorrow night because Adam Lipscomb is 99.99999999999999999% there after beating Neil Duff in a last leg decider 4-3. If Devon Peterson wins this game, he's 100% sure.
Whoop, whoop. Was that the sound of the police? All those nines? I don't know. But yeah, he's all but a unrealistic run of results going against him in tomorrow night's final. Absolutely over the moon for him. And what a fabulous game that was, and a fabulous advert for the Super Series. Fair play to both players who treated us to an incredible match.
First leg, it's Chris to throw first.
If it doesn't happen and Lipscomb goes out, I will turn up tomorrow in fancy dress.
$58.
And Mace can pick the costume.
$140.
Well, we've certainly been seeing some better stuff from Devon Petersen.
60.
An average of 86.18 last time out. His final game yesterday, 82.75.
80. $100.
My big concern for Quantock is he can't afford any slips now from here on in. But he has
100.
opened up a passage for View because he beat Barster in that first game, who is now 2 defeats from 2.
45.
He's mapped a road for himself. But what he can't afford to do is let the good work that he's putting to get himself in this position
95.
undo him now. This has been a good start to the game for Petersen. Leaving a 2-darter after 12 darts and threatening the Quantock throw
41.
right
Devon
from the
Require,
get-go.
86.
And he's going to get 6 to take out this opening leg against the darts.
$46.
Someone asking, is Modus going to be back on a TV channel at any
60.
point
Devon
now sport
Require,
is finished?
40.
Not sure. May well happen. Ultimately, the way we consume
20.
content nowadays,
Chris
I
Require,
don't think
137.
it really matters. Most of the TV I watch now is either on catch up or via an app, whether it be
Devon
DAZN
Require,
or
20.
Sky or whatever else.
Up for double 5. In
Game
it goes.
on the
Petersen leads
first leg.
1-0.
Devon Petersen.
Just had a
Second
text
leg,
from one of
Devon to
the
throw first. Game
social teams saying that apparently I wear fancy dress anyway, so apparently it doesn't matter what I wear tomorrow.
Good point, well made, Taylor.
44. $80.
You can get in touch with our
100.
social media team by tweeting at MSS Darts. You can also get in touch with us
43.
by other means. Apparently, according to Johnny Stewart, I sounded like an angry German fella there shouting 999.
No, no, no.
100.
Someone asking about the prize money. Champions Week winner gets £25,000 now.
Biggest prize fund ever here at the Super Series.
140. $45.
I'm going to answer Mark's question. He says, my point is play to just 4 legs. It isn't like Man United only playing one half and
98.
expected to get a result every time. But I also think because you play so many games over the format over the course of the week, that I feel like best of 7's fair in the week phase. I think there's an argument when you get to Champions Week to extend the format on finals night. When you play for 25,000, I feel like there could be a potential argument for that.
60. Devon, you require 72.
But this is one of the good things about modern day is everyone's got that right to an opinion. Everyone feels and thinks differently. And
40.
do get your points across. Do keep them fair, fun, clean. The look was 25 ball. Doesn't go. Petersen looking at double 16 for a 2-0 lead.
Jack, no, I'm not planning on doing any
56.
pro tours. I'm
32.
doing the Euro Tour next weekend and then the World Series events in Copenhagen and Poland.
Second leg. Devon Petersen.
You don't need a researcher for that event, Mace, do you? Petersen 2-0 up.
Game on.
And halfway towards sending Lipscomb through, it would dot the I's and cross the T's for Baby Boy.
97.
Well,
Do you think the prize money for winning a qualifying week or a Champions Week is enough? Well, it's
100.
with bonuses, it's over 5,000 for winning a week. And then for winning Champions
41.
Week, it's 25,000. That's what? Where in amateur darts can
60.
you qualify so readily and so cheaply without travelling the world and get a payday of 25,000?
121.
And plus, well, you get more than 25,000 if you win your group as well, of course.
well, the other thing as well is if you go through
And then you top it up with your weekly win and the bonuses
60.
en route. There's over 30,000.
and you're pretty much then going to guarantee yourself invites into special events and other such weeks where you can then accumulate more prize money.
140.
And the other things that come with winning a Super Series as well, the exposure, the sponsorship. I'd like to see the winners of the Super Series as well maybe get a run at maybe some exhibition shows, give them some big stage experience.
Portsmouth is the Detroit of the UK. What?
82.
Oh dear.
Devon McGuire 101.
Well, I quite readily and happily walk home on my own at 2 a.m. in the morning for a 20-minute stroll through Portsmouth. I don't think I'd do that in Detroit, if I'm honest.
85.
It's only because
Which
the
requires
rats
20.
round here say the word mush. Double 5.
Edge on the third
Quantock
leg.
makes it
Chris
2-1.
Quantock.
Actually, half the rats here have had 2
Fullback, it's Devon
divorces.
to throw first.
It's not as bad as Southampton. For rats.
100.
Porter Southampton could be a
Oh, this
championship fixture
is
next
here's
year.
a nice one. Lex. Chris, my grandma can throw better than
42.
you. Well, it's a little bit lame, that, isn't it, Lex? It's probably past your bedtime. Don't let Mummy and Daddy catch you up online at this time of night.
$140.
James just said winning a Euro
100.
Tour is 30,000. The fact that this is almost there is extraordinary. Absolutely. Look at the exposure and the
97.
backing, and the fact that they sell sometimes in excess of 15,000 tickets to those events.
Well, put it this way. In the amateur side of this sport,
45.
the only way you can win more than that £25,000 first prize is by winning a world title on the amateur
92.
side, either the World Seniors or the
131.
WDF. 1-3-1 for 3-1. Is it going to go? And so Quantock, the little fish, remember, he can't really afford any slip-ups this evening, does Quanny?
91. Christian McGuire 130.
Oh dear. Just the other side of the upright separating the treble 1 from the treble 20.
42. Devon McGuire 40.
Tots are 3-1. And it
Danger on the
goes 3-1
fourth.
Petersen.
Devon Petersen.
And it now means that Adam Lipscomb is a leg away from confirming his place in tomorrow night's final.
It's Chris to throw
Quantock
first.
has it all to do.
Game on.
Mark Neville. Henry, how do you keep a straight face when interviewing? You seem to be on the edge of laughing all the
97.
time. If you wondered, some of the people that I have to
45.
work with, you wonder why I struggle to keep a straight face at times. I've got a good
60.
team here at the Super Series.
$60. 83. 100.
Someone just saying the senior starts tomorrow. It does. Tomorrow afternoon.
140.
4 matches tomorrow afternoon. 4 matches Sunday afternoon. And then we will crown the champion of champion.
121.
Will Gates defend his title? Or will there be a new name on the trophy?
It'd be interesting, so interesting to see. Quasar will take out the 1-2-1.
57.
George says, if I beat Henry in an arm wrestle, can I play on Modus? Well, we'll see you in Series 8 then, George.
140. Christopher Quine, 64.
88.
Game shot on the 5th leg. Chris Quantock.
Quantock brings it back to 3-2. And Peterson now throws for that place into the final for Lipscomb. And it'd be for his first win at the Super Series. Let's not forget about the bigger picture on that as well. And he has improved from night 1 to
44.
Night 2 here at the Live Lounge. Averaging 81.23, averaged 86.18 last night. To put it by way of comparison,
60.
his average for the evening yesterday was 75.6. Me and Mace will
60.
dissect it in a little bit more depth when we talk in the studio on the completion of this particular
140.
contest, which Quantock hopes goes all the way to a last leg decider.
25.
And there's every chance that's going to be the case because he's stolen the darts here from Peterson.
40.
Gotta say, we really have raced through the matches this evening, haven't we? It's been real good fun so far tonight.
100. 96. 65.
I like this one. A question from Chris. If you could build an ultimate dart player, throw personality, not sure about shirt or walk on is
101.
of any relevance, what would you choose? A mixture of Eric Bristow and Phil Taylor.
60. Christian requires 64.
To take us the distance. Double 16.
Game show.
3-3. It's the second consecutive game that's gone the distance. Quantock to keep himself going in terms of qualification.
7th and final leg, it's Chris to throw first. Game on.
Big leg. It could seal Lipscomb's place if Peterson wins. For Quantock, it makes the battle
57.
just that little bit harder. He's done step 1 against Barstow, but it'd be a huge step back if he loses this particular leg and thus the contest.
60.
Coming up on the other side of the break,
47.
we are going to watch Adam Lipscomb in action up against Chaz Barstow. Lipscomb will be hoping to begin his victory lap.
Oh, Quantock grafting hard.
140.
'Peterson grafting away. He's been grafting away for the last 2 nights, and he's hoping he now will get his just
58.
results. He took Lipscomb all the way to a decider. He's taken Quantock all the way to the last leg.
100.
So to finish here.
85. Devin, you record 157.
Well, he's been scaring big finishes. But he's not going to find his first win on a massive ton topper. And so Quantop will come back for 114 to take out a 4-3 win. It's not going to go. Petersen's back for double 12.
58.
He gives him his first win. It sends
24.
Lipscomb through. And Devon Petersen is on the board at the Super Series. He's had to wait for that winning feeling, but now he knows exactly what it's all about. And it has sent Adam Lipscomb through to tomorrow night's final. There is going to be a party in Portsmouth tomorrow night as Baby Boy has his due date in tomorrow night's final. Petersen beats Quantop by 4-3. Myself and Chris Mason are going to have a chat about all of the action after this short break. Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. We're at the midway point of tonight's action. Myself and Chris Mason have been watching every dart as it goes in. And these are the results from the 5 matches we have seen up to press. And I've got to say, Chris, what a session we've enjoyed. There hasn't really been a damp squid at all, has there?
No, Neil Duff made a wonderful start. Chas Barstow's struggled to get going. He did struggle in his opening game last night, but managed to recover a lot quicker than this evening. Quanny getting a win in that 3rd game against Barstow, but the match of the night, match of the week, arguably, Adam Lipscomb against Neil Duff was just something to behold. And then just before we come off for the break, nice to see Devon picking up his first win.
Well, let's talk about that game between Lipscomb and Duff, because what an incredible encounter it was. Now, Lipscomb races into a 2-0 lead. Duff then goes on the blitz, but Lipscomb holds his nerve when it matters.
Yeah, I mean, runs of legs of 15, 14, 13, and you feared the worst, but he responded brilliantly in leg 6 and then just kicked in the 7th and final leg of the match. And he's just far more composed. You can see how much it means to him. I've spoken to him many times after he's narrowly missed out on finals night, and he's been absolutely devastated. he's desperate for all of his friends and teammates and family to join him here on finals night, and they will be here in their droves. If you're thinking about getting a ticket,
Don't bother.
They're all gone.
Yeah, complete sellout here at the Live Lounge tomorrow. And for Adam, it's going to be like having the equivalent of a 12th man in there tomorrow night.
It's the fourth dart, isn't it? That's what it's going to feel like. But he's going to be under pressure tomorrow night. In a way, it's great for him, and it just depends how he deals with it, because he's going to be under it tomorrow night. He's going to feel the pressure and the expectation, but he doesn't need to play any better than he's playing right now. What he will ultimately think is, right, I've got to find another gear from somewhere. I don't think he needs to. I think if he plays at this level and the stars align, he has every chance of winning tomorrow night, but it's going to be tough.
But if there's one player that's going to enjoy that crowd tomorrow night, it's going to be Neil Duff. He doesn't really care what people think.
No, I mean, we saw that at Lakeside, didn't he? He had some sort of mixed crowds there when he won Lakeside, and yeah, he just relished the opportunity to play in front of a big crowd. You know, the players who've played in, you know, your Lakesides or the PDC World Championships, they love playing in front of a crowd. It just gets the adrenaline boiling just that little bit more.
Elsewhere, Chaz Barstow's not been the start to the night that he would have hoped. No,
he did it last night, didn't he? Started off with quite a poor mid-70s average, but instantly bounced back with an average in excess of 91, and then he was up and running. Not been able to get up and running tonight. He's going to have to find something from somewhere, and quick.
Well, that is what we've seen tonight. Let's have a little bit of a look ahead to next week, and what a lineup we have in store for you. Well, an interesting lineup for us. Group A is going to see a plethora of talent in Connor Scott, Leonard Gates, Mike Warburton and Andreas Harrison amongst the mix. Group C, Jared Cole, the long-awaited debut of Ashley Coleman and Greg Ritchie. In Group B, David Davis, David Evans and Lou Bevan. I've actually been speaking to a few people today, and I've been told expect big things from Lou Bevan on the circuit. He's playing some excellent stuff.
Yeah, I've been looking at some of his numbers and just sort of, you know, a new name to me in Ashley Coleman. He's seems to have got a lot of support. He's very popular, certainly on our online chat, and there's a lot of people looking forward to seeing him play. Like I said, I don't know too much about him. In looking at his results on the Challenge Tour and when he qualified for the UK Open, of course, via the Riley's qualifier. So yeah, he comes here with some reputation.
So that's Monday morning, that's 9:30 a.m. and what a week 5 we've got for you. Right, Adam Lipscomb's involved in our 6th game of the evening session. Now he's through to tomorrow night's final, and he is going to bring a very, very big crowd with him tomorrow evening. Now he qualified courtesy of the ADC circuit. He won the Southeastern London Vault Series events over the last few months or so, and the ADC is a system that's bringing through players left, right and centre. We've seen the likes of Tom Lonsdale really come to prominence through that particular structure and through that particular system, and we're going to be bringing more players into the Super Series via that particular route, whether it be in the UK, whether that be through Europe, and as well as it grows across the world. Players from Oceania and other regions will be taking part here. Now if you fancy chancing your arm and think that you're good enough to play on that stage, well, take a look at this.
Ball 1, Joe Taylor, Garrett Tilly. Ball 2, Craig Nixon, Robin Young.
We know Lipscomb's there. Barstow's hoping to be the second local boy into tomorrow night's final, following in the footsteps of Baby Boy. This place is going to be rammed. Around about this time tomorrow night, we could have the loudest cheer we've ever seen in this venue if Lipscomb can pick up the trophy and pick up the jackpot. This room is going to be shaking and quaking in his support.
Yeah, it was last night, and that was just this match. This one went down to the wire with
First leg, it's
Adam
Chaz to
just
throw
edging
first.
out Chaz.
Game
He was outscored in the match, but he outfinished Barstow, who was 3 from 13. Adam Lipscomb was perfect, 4 from 4.
60.
And every single one of them tomorrow night is going to be cheered emphatically. But the here and now
81.
is that Lipscomb can help to be a part of Barstow's downfall.
89. 95. 115.
So Lipscomb 117 to take out the opening leg against the darts
133.
on the Barstow throw.
117.
This has been his forte. Ooh, just misses
77.
tops for
Judge of Acquire,
another big ton plus out
132.
for the week.
Triple 19 would have left the ball, and so Lipscomb once again. How many
104.
times tonight
Required 40.
has he done this? Left a double after 12 darts. If he does this tomorrow night, he is going to stand
Game
every
shot
chance.
first leg.
1-0
Adam
Lipscomb. He gets the break and could be breaking down Barstow piece by piece.
Mark Neville, question
Second
for
leg,
Chris.
it's
Is it
Adam
possible
to
to play
throw
darts and lift heavyweights when I play after the gym? My score is declining quicker than Henry's hairline.
85.
I should have read that out before I read it out, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I don't lift particularly heavy, so
100.
I mean, if you're training to failure, then you probably would find
95.
what I tend to do if I'm playing a league game, even though I don't lift heavy, I'll tend to train core and legs on
84.
a Tuesday if I'm playing on a Tuesday night. That's the only way around it, really.
55.
My poor hairline. Well, my poor hairline, I say. I don't even know if there's anyone that exists now. In it goes.
180.
Also, it's not receding. It's just very, very
137.
fine.
Judge of a 137.
It sounded very Cartman. Thanks for your message, Mark. Do appreciate your interaction as ever. Thank you for being a good sport.
No, 58 left. 97. And we've got 129.
And cheers, Mace, for the insecurities I'm about to have. 1-2-9 for Lipscomb for a 2-0 lead.
89. Judge of Acquire, 40.
Barstow back for tops. Him doing so after 12. Double 10. There's not been much conviction from Barstow in the
He's on
finishing
the
department
second
tonight,
leg.
but that'll
Chaz
feel better
Barstow.
for him. Level we are, 1-1.
Furler gets Chaz to throw first. Game on. 80. 140.
Lipscomb's come here tonight to do a job, and a job that he's doing so far.
134. 85. 99. 60.
Good game this. Another high quality contest. Barstow averaging in excess of a ton. Lipscomb over 95.
100. 60.
So for
Judge
back-to-back
require
legs.
88.
Double 14. Double 7.
74. Adam, you require 156.
A few good questions in. I'll try to answer at the end of this particular leg as
45.
Well,
Judge, you require
a
14.
rare loose one.
7s for Barstow.
Game shot in the
Bestowed
third
by
leg.
Barstow.
Chaz
Hi Chris,
Barstow.
do you still speak to Steve Raw? And do you know why he stopped playing? No, I haven't spoken to
Well, it's
Steve
Adam
for
to throw
a while.
first.
And I
Game
do
on.
believe he moved to another country for work, but he is about. He's back in and around Bishop Auckland, I do believe. Dean asked, do you manage to eat healthy, work in these wee hours?
85.
Commentary, imagine even work at 1 a.m. You just settle for a kebab. Yeah, well, fortunately I stay in a house, so we're quite fortunate. We have all the facilities. It's home from home, really, so... But yeah, there's an occasional kebab and the odd beer or two thrown in now and again. I mean, Henry will often go out and have
140.
a bang average curry.
In your opinion.
And Bol Mule says, Mr. Mason, because I said
125.
I don't particularly lift heavy anymore. Mr. Mason, you lift heavy every time you work with Henry.
42.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about doing shoulders and legs. I'm carrying him around all night.
100.
I'm going to remember that.
$60.
Well, Barstow leaving himself on a 2-darter here.
Someone goes, Adam, what happened? You can always tell me you don't play darts without telling me you
98.
don't play darts. He's
Judge requires 76.
literally just
Game shot
done
the
something he's
fourth
been
leg.
trying to do for
Chaz Barstow.
a long time. So he's obviously psychologically there's going to be a massive
leg, it's Chaz
adrenaline
to throw
dump.
first.
Well,
He's still averaging
Game.
90. I mean, I'm not sure that's bad.
he's walking
Or
in.
how that's bad, but Barstow's averaging over 97.
Exactly. He's walking into a Barstow who's
140.
playing very, very good. 99.19. That's a good average for Lipscomb. In fact, if you compare it by way of what else he's doing, yes, he's had the 96 and the 90, but you compare it to the numbers of last night as far as he's concerned, it's in excess, 3 points in excess of his nightly average of
140.
86.52. But Barstow needed to do a job here. He is doing a job here, and emphatically as well.
It's not slander when it's true, James, and it's banter.
82.
Who's Harry?
$60. Judge require 139.
Oh, Rob SAFC said, yep, Steve is still around here. I don't think he plays anymore, though.
99.
Thanks for that, Rob.
Barstow leaving tops after 12 for the match. It keeps him swinging in the
100.
contest.
Judge require 40.
Keeps him very much in the race to progress through to
Game
Saturday night's
shot of the
final.
match.
It's 4-1
Chaz
Barstow.
Barstow.
It's a huge, huge win for him. It keeps him cooking in the race. It puts him 4 points clear of Chris Quantock. And maybe now he can begin to taste the delights of Saturday night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. 100.42 the average to get there. 4 out of 8 on the doubles to get there. A real good performance when it mattered most for Chaz Barstow. Coming up after the break, we're going to be watching Chris Quantock and Neil Duff. They'll go toe-to-toe after this short break. Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break, Chaz Barstow beat Adam Lipscomb in a game which I don't really know how Adam lost. Barstow averaging 100.42.
Yeah, how did he lose to that?
4 for 8 on the doubles. Impossible
What,
to
just
think.
50%? Ugh.
High expectations tonight. Big expectations always ladle on the door of Neil Duff. Well, as far as the table is concerned, well, we could pretty much confirm everything at the end of this game. Duff wins, he's on 10 points, he's comfortably through, and Quantop then cannot catch Barstow. And so it would mean that Lipscomb, Duff, Barstow would be the final three, as perhaps we expected at the beginning of the night's play. Although Quantop put up a bit of a fight after beating Barstow, that defeat to Devon Peterson.
Game on.
Could well be curtains for Quani.
Darren Eldridge. Hi, Chris. How do you feel
100.
the North Americans are faring? Question from Cape Cod, USA. Thank you. And cheers to you, Darren. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the Super Series. I think with the
60.
continued evolution of the CDC, I think we're seeing more and more new players. And it's in safe hands. Peter Satira is doing a
140.
wonderful job with his team over there. I'm certainly hoping at some point, either this year or possibly next year, to take a trip over and
81.
do some comms on one of their events. I've been a huge fan since its introduction, and it's great for
24.
darts on that side of the pond.
Is that after your all-expensive trip to Greece?
And Cyprus, yes.
Yes. I'll meet you at the airport, pal.
125.
It's very good of you to give me a lift.
$100. $95. Chris, you reckon 137.
Tops.
98.
Almost an incredible
Yeah,
finish to
we've got
kickstart the
140.
match.
$100. Chris, you require 39.
39, double 16, double 8 for 1-0 Quani.
23. Now we require 40.
Not to be, and so Duff gets the break chance to take one of the 4 that he needs
Game shot on the first
to
leg.
complete the
Neil
field
Duff.
for tomorrow night's finale. Duff up and running, 1-0.
Second leg, it's Neil to throw first.
Of course, Neil will be chasing the bonus,
100.
the financial bonus of winning Group B. And just to have
140.
the kudos that goes with it going into tomorrow night.
Well, Neil's one of those players, isn't he, that likes to tell people that he's playing
60.
well against you. And he's one of those that likes to have that psychological advantage in terms of having the W's against you in the week.
60.
He wants to give out that air against opponents that you can't beat me because you haven't beaten me all week. And it can count to something on a Saturday night.
96.
Feelings mutual, Darren. I hope we can make it happen. Kieran asks, when am I back on comms here? Oh, a few weeks.
81.
Hopefully we'll reunite then.
140.
Well, Duff looking for 105 to double his lead to make it 2-0.
40. Now we require 105.
There's the treble. Tops.
Game
2-0
shot on the
Duff.
second
Class.
leg. Neil Duff.
Classy finishing from the former leg side champ. He leads 2-0 and Quani could be
Chris
heading
to throw first.
very quickly towards the Swanee.
100. 55. 100. 100. 83.
Here's a good one. Hi, Mace. I've been playing darts regularly for about 2 years and my average has been consistent between 75 and 80. Is this good enough for an amateur environment? Absolutely.
180.
And if you play amongst some players which are at that level or slightly better, you'll see your numbers come
98.
up. Good luck, Adam. Very, very good. Anything between 75 and 80 is solid.
Talking about solid.
126.
Neil Duff knows the finishing line is approaching and he is beginning to play some beautiful stuff. Looking to climb the ladder. Here's Tops. Just below.
Very nearly. Had to pick a side, didn't he? Good to hear, Lee. And you're amongst many, many others who...
Neil Duff.
Well, that's what we tried to do. During that horrendous period of all of our lives, it
Neil to throw first.
was a little bit of relief, wasn't it? The Super Series or the Live Lounge as it was then. Live League.
Online darts live league, wasn't it?
100.
Yeah, that's it. I was thinking of Live Lounge. I am tired.
How can you forget about the live lounge, Mace?
96.
Well, Duff, averaging just over a ton here, putting in a perennial performance and it matters the most. I mean, he's punching in numbers, him and Lipscomb,
85.
that are basically sending out statement upon statement to the field. Ignore the 78 in the first, 96 in the second, 99.29 here on the back of a 91 average for the ninth
100.
yesterday.
Yeah, he's up around those numbers, if not more, tonight. Rob Brereton. Evening, guys. Our league pairs finals night got one in 15
100.
darts, 601. Stuart Dutton and Simon Tyler. Brilliant darts. I know Stuart very well. Good player, Stuart. Well done, guys.
99.
Super stuff, that. Yes, Matthew.
95.
We'll be having a. I will be dipping my toes in at the Super Series at some point,
60.
but won't be this year.
And we require
Well, unlikely to be
121.
this year.
Well, this is for the 60 dart game. Triple 17. Would have left the ball and it would have been for the red pen match.
57.
15
Richard
darts, the
require
equivalent for the four
146.
legs. Quani's not going to save with a 146. And it looks like now we know the full identity of the finals night field. Duff now just needs to dot the I's, cross the T's and cross the finishing line to knock Quantock out.
96. Now he requires 64.
He is 64 points away from doing just that. When it has mattered most, once again, Neil Duff has been providing the goods. It's Old Faithful.
24. Christian requires
He
50.
hopes to return. Tops.
Game shot on the fourth.
Keeps himself
Chris
in,
Quantock.
but just.
Well, I am a little bit disappointed in chat with the amount of people in chat that don't subscribe.
Game on.
We tried so hard to get to 32,000 yesterday, and we're really not far off. So, if you're watching and you can see that little
58.
subscribe button, it's so close. Just give it a tap for us. Get us to 32,000, and I'll tell you something that many of you may not know.
140.
Such as actually this receding hairline's a wig. No, it's not.
83.
Well, I'm being told by our team of social media beavers. Well, they're not beavers, they're humans, but
135.
we have now crossed that 32,000 mark.
Oh. YouTube's telling me fibs then.
180.
Max for Quanny.
$59.
So Quantock looking to
40.
set up.
Neil, you require
Do
167.
to the best of degree in that. Duff 167 for the match. It's not going to go. And so Quantock to pull another one back. Just make this tie
60.
interesting. We'll make
You require
Duff serve
140.
it out again. But he can't do that. And so this is to complete the lineup for tomorrow evening's final.
60.
Duff looking for
Neil,
107
require
to complete
107.
the match and to complete the lineup for tomorrow evening's final. Not going to find it this time, and so Quantock is back for 80 to bring it back to 3-2. Single for double. Has to go. Simply has to
60.
go, and that could
Nearly
well be that
required,
as far as
24.
he's concerned. Double 12. And the Duff man
Game
delivers when it
shot
matters
and a match.
most.
Neil
He's the
Duff.
Super Series postman. He gets the better Chris Quantock by 4 legs to 1. He doesn't just send himself through. He sends Chaz Barstow through with him. 92.44 the average. 105 is high out. A highlight performance again from Neil Duff. An excellent performance from him, which will complete tomorrow evening's lineup here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Next up, Devon Peterson and Chaz Barstow to the stage. And so to the final 3 games of the night we go, and we kickstart with Chaz Barstow and Devon Peterson to the stage here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Before the break, Neil Duff completed tomorrow night's lineup with a 4-1 win against Chris Quantock, doing so over 92.44 average, 4 from 7 on the finishing and a 105 check to boot. Quantock gone, Barstow in, Litscombe in, Duff in.
Yeah, and I'm sure Barstow's just relieved to now be assured of a place in tomorrow night's final. He can play with freedom. May see the best of Barstow now. Now, Ronnie Manning, is there an N and a Y missing from one of your middle names? He says, you have to be subscribed
First
for
leg, it's
24 hours to
Devon
chat in
to
here,
throw
Chris.
first.
What are you on about?
Game on.
That has nothing to do with the people watching that are unsubscribed. Any Jamie Bucks 123. Any
45.
tips on how to bring my actual game average to the standard I can get in practice? Usually 10 or 15 points lower in an actual game. Just keep plugging away, pal.
58.
It'll then become second nature, and you'll be able to play without nerves. And Jord makes a great point. Try the ADC and enter some competitions just to
60.
get used to being in that competitive environment.
And just go into it with a
59.
clear mind and clear thought.
I think Rob asked somewhere, what darts am I using? Very basic Wimmel Foxfire.
57.
22 grams straight out of the box, only £25. Lovely dart. And I did pay for them, by the way. That's not a plug for Wimmel.
140.
But I am very tempted to try the Joe Cullen dart. Not this current generation, the one before it.
It's at this point where I say other darts are available.
35.
Peterson first to finish leaving tops. Now, the rest of the games are dead rubbers apart from the fact that they jostle for position, which will jostle for
96.
prize money
Required 40.
in terms of the group. The restructuring of the prize fund means that every position comes with a different monetary
Gage on the
value.
First leg. Devon
Yeah,
Petersen.
makes the players, not that they don't, but makes them have more incentive, I suppose.
Second leg, it's chance to throw first.
Comms guys from Dean Constantine. Who would you like to see on the MODUS Super Series from the non-PDC pool of players?
36.
I think over the course of the next 8 months, I think we'll pretty much see them all.
100.
The one we get asked more than anybody else is when will we see Bo
96.
Greaves under this roof? I suppose to a certain extent,
That's definitely a week I won't be playing.
60.
to a certain extent, it's a shame that Andy Barnes did get his tour cut. As great as it was for him, because it would have been great to have had the reigning men's and women's
57.
WDF world champion in the same week. Cool, you could put Hendo in there as well. Then you can have a battle of the worlds.
60.
Someone asking now, with the lineup complete for tomorrow night, who is your favourite to win?
58.
Oh. I mean, Duff's just been
140.
so damn good tonight, hasn't he? But obviously, you can't ignore Scott Taylor. And then
100. Having you back 141.
it's just who's going to get it right tomorrow night.
109.
Draw's going to be important
154.
in which pool the players end up, and that's down to where they finish in their respective groups. We will show you those groups at the end of the show, so stay tuned in.
94. Devon, you require 32.
And I think it's also fair to say that it's very important to know how Adam Lipscomb will respond to the crowd factor tomorrow night. It could really embrace him, but we've seen it before with players that bring a big pool of people with them.
Yeah, and it may well
Devon
affect
Petersen.
the opponents as well. Like you say, in football it's the 12th man, in
Well,
darts it's
Devon to throw first.
the 4th dart.
Game on.
However, I think if there's one player that won't get bogged down by that is Neil Duff, as we mentioned earlier on. And there's so much data with him in terms of later on in the week, in
83.
terms of Saturday nights, how he gets better as the week goes along. Could the stars align again?
I mean, when you look at his form over the last
134.
couple of days, it trumps the numbers of Scott Taylor. But Scott was a little bit off colour. We spoke to him on Wednesday, and he
100.
said he wasn't quite right. Well, he's had a couple of days just to rest that shoulder up and just reset himself.
57.
And I mean, he has a a serious high ceiling, as we've seen in Group A with those 205 averages.
60.
And we've seen it before on finals night where Scott Taylor, maybe not playing to his best, but in the big money matches, comes alive. Seymour, what do you think of the mentality of Arina Sabalenka? Horrible news that came out there regarding her mentality. She decided to play in Miami this week in the ATP Tour event,
45.
following the horrible news regarding her boyfriend.
60.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that because I have no experience of it. So I just wouldn't know what to say apart from thoughts and prayers are
100.
with him and his family and friends and loved ones, should I say.
Yeah, I watched that tennis documentary, Break Point, and she's dealt with a
100.
lot in a
113.
short space of time. Very good documentary if you get the opportunity to watch that.
53. Judging required 91.
Peterson has improved tremendously from
68.
night 1
Kevin, you
to
require
night
60.
2. And this is for a 3-0 lead. And we'll put him on the cusp of back-to-back wins. Double 10.
50.
Doesn't go. And so
Judging
Barstow
required 23.
to put it back to within 1 with a break of throw. Double 10.
Game shot on the
Back
third.
we are to 2-1.
Shaz Barstow.
Barstow back in the contest.
Yeah, I'm back on throw.
Full flag, it's Chaz to throw first. Game on.
When that first dart sat like that, usually we see bedfellows with Chaz, and then he has
61.
one that comes bouncing out the board. I've had a message from George. People need to stop picking on
60.
Henry. I agree with that bit. I don't agree with the next bit. I think Henry would make a brilliant lapdog.
96. $60.
It's that wobbly stem again.
85. $100. $99. $60. Judge require 160.
6 darts on 160. Have one of them. Tops. And that would have been beautiful for
140.
Barstow.
Yeah, it was on the money. Oh, I like this one. Dean Considine again. If you could make a darts documentary,
85.
who
Judge
would you
required
make it
20.
about? I'll let you have first dibs. H.
10. Devon Ibakoy, 136.
Another. Would have left double 8. I'll come to that
96.
question at the beginning of
Judge required 10.
the next leg as I rack my brains around. 2 5s.
Game
2-2.
shot on the fourth leg. Chaz Barstow. Fifth leg, it's Devon to throw first. Game on.
In terms of documentary, I'd like to see somebody with a bit of a
140.
bit of a story, a real story. Maybe someone like a Damon Hedder who's had to sacrifice a lot, travelled over to the UK.
24.
Kind of what life is like, because for him, he's basically up sticks. He's upped his life to have a chance at this game.
100.
For me, it's quite an easy one. It would be Luke Humphries and his
99.
meteoric rise from a young man who struggled with anxiety and panic attacks. And
125.
obviously, those that know me understand why I'm a huge advocate of anybody that helps
63,
anybody else with mental health issues. And he struggled with his weight, and he went away and reinvented himself. And we had many a conversation, whether it be down to food or well-being and mental state of mind, and the fact that he,
44.
yes, with
40.
with external help, but as the saying goes, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it
32.
drink. And just from those, you know, that doing the whole youth world champion, and then pro tour, then Euro tour, and then majors, and then ultimately
60.
being crowned the world number 1 and the world champion. I think would be fascinating to hear firsthand the struggles and how he's
4.
managed to turn his life around. Tiny little percentages make up a big part of the pie, don't they?
And with anxiety
44.
and panic
Then we
attacks,
require 4.
they are not easy topics to come out and talk about. There's
No score.
people that
Charge of require
I know very well. We'll come back to this
167.
point actually in the next leg. Just quickly see whether Chaz can take out the 167. It's not going to go. But there's a
97.
close
Then we
friend of
require
mine that
4.
I know that has those issues with anxiety and panic attacks. And it's not an easy thing to
Game
talk
show
about.
fifth
It's
leg.
a very hard thing to be
Devon
open about,
Petersen.
because that's the very thing that becomes a force of habit. And
Sixth
to
leg is
be
Chaz
open
to
like
throw
Luke has with
first.
it speaks a lot of commendability. You know, it's a
Well,
very,
it-
very hard thing to overcome. Very
well,
hard.
It's very much still
80.
classed as a weakness. So the stigma around it, certainly in my day, I couldn't tell anybody, and there's no warning to it, and there's
22.
no mental health. Well, a certain type of mental health is not necessarily
100.
reliant on your lifestyle or whether you're rich or whether you're poor. It's an illness rather than an
93.
environment or a tragedy in your family or a
93.
PTSD. That's a totally different thing, and a totally different type of mental health.
You say
But
the word-
when you're on stage
41.
and you have an anxiety attack and everything goes black and you can't breathe and you think you're going to pass out and you try and play
134.
through that, it's horrendous.
you said the word weakness there, but if anything, to be able to still get on with your day-to-day
180.
life whilst
Require
having to
94.
encounter that speaks a lot about the strength of yourself as a human being
54.
and an individual. You know, it's not something, and this is where society has improved so much these
97.
days, in the
Charge
fact that
required 40.
we can have these conversations where
Game
probably
show
as
the
little
sixth
as
leg.
10 years ago, maybe even
Chaz
5 years
Barstow.
ago, we couldn't quite have these chats or these conversations. The fact that
Well,
we
people-
can sit here now and have that
7 from far
conversation.
left.
People would
Devon to throw
generally
first.
keep it a
Game
secret,
on.
especially in the, not that it's any different, but those in the sporting sphere and in the
65.
limelight, in inverted commas, it was impossible to discuss. Anyway,
Glad we had that conversation. It's a really important
59.
topic.
Chris, did you get any backlash from your Dimitri Vandenberg comments after the Luke Humphries final? Not sure why I would have, but no.
140. $58. $82.
Last leg to cider, Petersen and Barstow.
140.
Yeah, someone said about Gerwin Price. Yeah, he's a fascinating story, but that's been told, hasn't it?
180.
Another max for Devon. To leave the rarely seen
81.
Double
Devon number
17.
34.
For 2 consecutive victories. I can tell you that he tried to split there.
18.
Doesn't go, but he didn't need it to go this time.
$59. Devon number 16.
Double 8.
Game
For
shot
double
and the
bubble
match.
in terms of the
Devon
victory column for
Petersen.
Devon Petersen. He beats Barstow in a last leg decider by 4 legs to 3. He's getting used to this now, isn't he, Devon? 4-3, the victory for him. Just unfortunately for him, it's too little too late. It's too late for Chris Quantock. He's out the competition, but he will fulfill his quota of matches when he takes on Adam Lipscomb after this short break. Welcome back. Before the break, Devon Petersen made it 2 wins from his last 2 games. He beat Chaz Barstow by 4 legs to 3. Barstow is through, but goodness me, his performances this evening have gone through the full Richter scale. 80.14, 100.42, 76.37.
Yep, consistently inconsistent, but it's just about playing at the right level at the right time. Someone asking again about a quadro board. It would be very unlikely, as they don't make them anymore, and I'm sure Harrow's had a
First leg,
pattern
it's
on that
Adam to
particular
throw first.
board.
Game
But
on.
I personally would love to see a quadro board, because we could have new things happening,
55.
break records.
$26.
Still want to know what Owen Binks' 240 call would sound like. I mean, it's going to be very loud no matter what it
95.
is.
The irony of that.
85.
Mind you, he'll be very quiet
60.
tomorrow night when his Colchester United get dumped by Mansfield. Well, Contop playing for pride here. Lipscomb looking to continue the feel-good factor. I told you the 180 call wasn't quiet.
Here's one for you, Henry, from Kieran Ballard. Hey, Henry, how did you start working on Modus Super Series?
55.
Now tell the truth.
Well, I spent a lot of time
84.
working around, freelance and all the rest of it. And I got the opportunity to...
Well, no, you went to uni to study sports journalism, didn't you?
I did that first, yep. Then I went freelance.
Tell the full story. Don't want half a story, do we?
We've got a best of 7 leg match. Not one of my stories. We need best of 70.
48.
But no, we studied at uni for 3 years, worked at a local football club and worked on local radio shows during that time, and then went
44,
freelance after
which requires
finishing my
78.
studies. And then one of the jobs that I got when I was freelance was double 16 for Quantock. It wasn't that as a job, but Quantock fires the double 16 to break a League 1 there. One of the jobs I got, I was very lucky to work behind the scenes at the first WDF World Championship at the Lakeside. I'd commentated on a number of competitions for them in the build-up to that event. And they virtually asked me to work behind the scenes, and one evening spoke to one or two of the people who were involved in the running of this product. Did a couple of sessions when Mace was probably on holiday somewhere, and then basically they just couldn't get rid of me after. They've tried.
No, I point blank refused to do it because the money was crap.
59.
But it just shows you, if you put yourself out there, apply yourself, be keen,
58.
committed, do your research, anything can happen. Chris, are you a fan of the Royal Rumble concept, which the Asset and Phil Bars
40.
talk about? I think it has real potential. That was, well, not the Royal Rumble side of it, but my idea was 64 players, all in a room,
140.
and the draw is done on a computer. So the first 2 players out, the computer knows the name and the association with their walk-on music.
100.
First one out,
Which require
the
80.
walk-on music plays, they come out, and then the next music that plays associated with that player, they walk out, they play each other.
40.
Winner goes back into the hat, loser BFH, and then you do that for 32 games, and then a further 16 games, and so you don't know who you're playing or when you're playing, and the crowd just wait until the music starts, and then you walk out.
30. Enemy require 147.
147 for Lipscomb to square up at 1-1. Yeah, but I suppose that if Bo Greaves played John Henderson, for example, it'd be a bit weird when you're both walking onto each other's walk-on track.
Which required 10.
Double 5. 2-0 Quantock.
Chris Quantock.
Is a Modus Soft Tip Super Series as a special possibility, or is it pure steel tip?
Delegates
Yeah,
Adam
be
to throw
steel tip.
first.
Chris, when you are playing, how do you count your own score in your head and thus start working out what
60.
finish you can leave? Well, I don't play games of 501 in my head. That's we have a chalker, obviously, so
93.
you just sort of have a sixth sense to know that you don't want to leave a number that can't be
85.
achieved in 6 after having 6. Something Luke Littler is better at than any other player I've seen.
93.
Kieran back in again. Hey Chris, did you find it difficult commentating by yourself back in the live league days? Coy, remember them days?
Yeah, it was tough, but we did it from the very beginning. I did it myself from my studio at home.
160. 177.
This one, Quantock, giving us the full repertoire. Yeah, so to be honest, it felt like second nature, really, doing it
78.
down in
Christopher
Southampton. So no, it
138.
wasn't difficult. Well, it would have been easier if there would have been two of us, but because of the bubble and isolation situation and whatever else was going on, it was impossible for us to have two in the comms box.
Do you remember the camera at the end of every leg?
Yeah. Whose idea was that?
Especially when it was lunchtime.
Christopher Kwan, 99.
Here we go. Here's one that doesn't work. Just have a winner stays on tournament. So if you're lucky enough and you play against a guy that was drawn out first, and by the time he gets to you, he's absolutely out on his feet. Didn't think that one through, THM.
97.
Bus fare home, Ricky. A phrase taken from that wonderful program Bullseye.
No score.
Basically means nothing.
Adam, requires 67.
It's going to be 14 ball. It's not even going to be that. Quantock for the double break. Well, the thing is, Lipscomb's job is done, and it just feels like now he's just going through those motions going into tomorrow night.
32.
Yeah, all sorts will be going through his mind. He probably just wants to get home and
Game shot in the third
see all
leg.
his,
Chris
well,
Quantock.
no doubt answer all the hundreds of messages he's probably got on his phone. Everybody's phone
Full flag, it's Chris to throw first.
who are playing is
Game on.
taken and put in switched off and put in a secure box when they enter the building, and they receive their phone back
40.
when they finish playing. Chris, can you pick a political song as your walkout? No, I don't believe you can.
55.
Lee Seymour, I used to love Chris Murphy back in the Southampton
140.
days. Used to love his one-liners. His one-liners are great until they're then used against you in person.
85.
Not saying I've got experience of that much.
140. 140. 57.
Well, Quantock winning this game would mean that the order for tomorrow night would be
100.
confirmed.
Christian Record 124.
It would be Duff, Lipscomb, Barstow in that particular order. The bullseye for Quanny to finish on a high.
99. Adam,
It's not going to go, and so 1-2-1 for Lipscomb.
Yeah, it's similar to the shootout. 1 leg 1,001, Dean. Oh, you beauty. But the extra effect for drama is that the draw is done, and you play in the order of the draw. I just think it would.
Game on.
I think it'd be amazing to have a camera in that room where you'd have probably 8 boards between the 64 players. They'd all be sort of ticking over in anticipation to know when they're on.
60. 100. 40.
Yep, I fancy Hendo for the seniors, but wouldn't surprise me if Hamilton or Gates or
96.
Housen. Is Housen in it? Yeah, he's in it. And he's
Played Gates' first game.
Yeah, he plays Gates. Yeah, one of
100.
anyone could win it, really, I expect. But Hendo's the right favourite as the current world champion.
137.
No ego. The broadcaster pays a annual license for the rights to play the walk-on music.
59. 96.
Quantock to seal a 4-1 win.
56. Christian requires 72.
It would end his campaign on a high. He's not going to make it through, but he can end with something tangible to enjoy.
Leaves
32.
tops.
$70. Christian requires 40.
Tops for the match.
Game
Quantock
shot
will
and the
end with a
match.
win. He's not going to make it
Quantock.
through, the former weekly champion, but he can at least end with something to be happy about. For Lipscomb, he is going to head all the way. The smile cannot be removed, beaming from ear to ear. But it's Chris Quantock who wins his final game of the group. And so we end the way we started. It's Duffy Peterson on the other side of this short break.
Welcome back for our final match of this Group B and this session. Well, everything is done and dusted. Scott Taylor, our first player through from Group A. Group C was concluded this afternoon with Joe Croft and Steve Hine joining Scott Taylor. We now know going in to tomorrow night's final with those three is Neil Duff, Adam Lipscomb and
First leg,
Charles
it's Neil
Barstow.
to throw first. Game on.
Unfortunately for Devon, even with a win here, he won't be able to leapfrog Chris Quantock into fourth place due to the leg difference. Now, it'll be interesting to see
100.
how Neil Duff approaches this. He's a slightly different character to the vast majority of the players here. He won't be easing up and thinking about coasting in this one.
We've mentioned so many times with Neil, it's all about that bigger picture with him.
Yeah, it's for him, it's about making a statement going into tomorrow night, putting down a marker.
And the thing is, he doesn't know when he's going to run into Devon again either, and you don't want to go in there playing him in another tournament with Devon with a 4-0 or 4-1 win under his belt.
Lee says, has Devon's 5-hour... Oh, another Max. Has Devon's 5-hour journey down from Barbara been a success or not? Be interesting to see what he thinks himself. Well, I can't speak for him, but having spoken to him, he is very aware of, for a 12-darter, very aware of where his game is right now and what it needs to rebuild, and this environment is part of that rebuilding process, and I expect him to try and get as much time here as possible. And I think Henry said yesterday there was outside commitments that prevented him from doing a full week here, because I think he would benefit massively from it. We could already see small improvements already this evening from last night, of course.
It's interesting when you see players that come off the tour that play the full week. What you see from day 1 to day 5. Because as Duff pins the double 16 to make it 1-0, you see a player that's devoid of confidence because they spent a couple of years just constantly having a losing feeling, because you're not going to come off the tour and feel like you've won everything, because you don't, because you're having to drop down the rankings to do that.
And it's the worst possible environment to be in if you are struggling with your game in whichever element, whether it be the fundamentals of your action or the mental side of the sport. It's ruthless and cutthroat, and you just can't get that winning feeling back, because if you're slightly off color, they're sharks. They smell blood.
And you know as well as anybody that one of the hardest things to rediscover is that winning touch, and you actually come back here and you learn how to win again.
Absolutely. Listen, without stating the obvious, this, although we do see incredible numbers here at the Super Series, it's a far less brutal environment for the players, and you do get a chance to get that winning feeling back and rebuild and reflect, watch it back on the fly. You can literally go home from here, whether you're on an afternoon session, evening session, go onto YouTube, watch your matches back, dissect them, look for areas of where you think you can improve or areas you're doing something wrong. It's invaluable for the players. Well,
I know that it hasn't quite worked out for him when he's gone back on top. I think the perfect example here, Josh Payne, used this as the vehicle to get himself back on top. And what did he do? He won a tour card first time of trying. So it hasn't quite worked out the way he would have liked to upon his return to the Pro Tour. There's been glimpses, there's been signs. He's had a more positive start this year, but he used this as the perfect vehicle.
Yeah, it was a springboard, very much a platform. And once you've got that card, then you've got to go again, haven't you? You've got to find more increments of improvement.
It's only part of the process.
40.
And you've got to come up against people who are high on confidence, like Neil Duff.
140. Devon, you require 32.
Duff feels this place is his manor now.
Well, you imagine being a new tour card holder and walking into Littler, Humphreys,
Devon PETERSEN,
Aspinall, Cross, Smith. You imagine Price, Van Gogh. You imagine walking into that every weekend. You're not human if it doesn't knock the stuffing out of you.
I thought that was the inspiration for your comeback, Mace.
100.
Couldn't honestly think of anything worse than walking into a venue and looking around and
60.
thinking, I'm going to get stuffed. no matter who I play, and that's the mindset you end up getting. You just are devoid of any kind of confidence.
96.
If that's bad enough, you're sat next to me in a commentary box.
Someone asking here, Chris Henry, which darts player has the most natural talent? I'm not
100.
I'm not particularly a believer in that. I just don't, because a phrase I love to use, hard work will always beat talent when talent
42.
doesn't work hard. I don't think anyone's born anything. I think you may be gifted a certain level of ability or feel for something.
100.
I think some people have that incredible eye-to-hand coordination that will make them either a great painter or
95.
a great golfer or a great tennis player. Who knows? But, you know, look at someone like Luke Littler, who was throwing darts at 3 years of age.
26.
He didn't pick up a set of darts at 3 and go, oh, you know, here's a 9 darter.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
I think it's fair, though, to say that it comes easier to some
100.
people than it is other. I think that's
Yeah.
a fair assumption to make.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think it depends on your motor skills
88.
and everything else.
Now we
And
require 68.
Double 4 for Duff for 2-1. Down for double 2. Doesn't go.
66. Definitely
And
require
Peterson has been giving these a
127.
bit of a scare. Is it going to be 127?
102.
very nearly game.
Now we require 2.
Neil Duff, double 1.
No score.
And Duff is mad at the
Definitely
madhouse.
require 25.
Double 8.
Game shot in the third.
Devon
there.
breaks.
Devon
2-1 he
Petersen.
leads. I'll tell you what, you think about some of the scalps that Peterson
Although
could
against
pick up
Devon to throw first.
this evening. He
Game
could pick up 3 wins from 4 and would have beaten Contoc, Barstow and Duff along the way if he can do exactly that.
100.
How much you'd
could-
love this to be a 3-day group.
Yeah, I mean, you can even see it with his body language, his demeanour.
I think it's fair to say that when he walked through the door,
100.
that the smiles never changed, but it felt like there was a look of a man that was just stepping a little bit into the unknown. And fast forward 8 matches, this is...
140.
Well, we know Devon's still got gears to go and plenty of gears to go, but we're seeing somewhat of a resemblance of someone that's achieved so much in this sport.
95.
I think he's going to take a lot from tonight. A lot from tonight in terms of confidence, in terms of knowing that his game is there, but he's also got the
83.
games in the can in which...
Yeah, it's Oki time, I call it. And that's what you can't practice.
96.
And the fact that it's in front of the camera, in front of the lights, he can go back, he can analyse, look at the good bits, look at the not so good bits, and he can see what the action plan's going to be going
138.
forward. As he leads tops after 12 to open up a 3-1 lead.
100. Devon, you require 40.
Even though he didn't go through, this will end up being a positive
Game's on
experience
the
for
floor,
Pearson.
Devon
As he
Petersen.
moves 3-1 to the good against Duff.
Fifth leg, it's Neil to throw first.
And look, Devon could be one of those players, and I know we don't get many of them here at the Super Series anymore, and that's a good thing. But if there is later on possibly a spot that becomes available,
180.
he'd be the type of player that could well be high up on that list. Now he's had a go and we saw him get better, that if that was to become available, he'd be a real beneficiary for that.
Hello. I dare to dream.
81.
It's 10 to 1 in the morning. That's what I should be doing, dreaming.
You'll be in dreamy, dreamy, dreamy land before you even know it.
42. 140.
Duff to pull one back. Peterson would have the throw in the next.
36. And we
I
require
think
100.
the white flag in this leg will be raised. Tops isn't going to go.
14.
Didn't need to go. Peterson will just set up for an assault on his throw in the next leg.
100. Now we require 60.
20 for Tops for Duff.
Game shot on the
Back
fifth
to
leg.
3-2, but Devon
Nailed
Peterson
up.
now has the opportunity to throw for the match, throw for a 4-2 victory, which
Sickler
would
gets Devon to throw first.
give him a lot of
Game on.
positivity to end his campaign on.
Rene asks, Chris Henry, do you think that Gary Anderson now is
140.
at his best? Well, I have seen him produce similar numbers.
45.
I just think he had more
60.
killer instinct before, maybe. I'm not sure. But in terms of averages, I mean, remarkable what he's producing at the moment.
Bit worrying for the field that
92.
he's not a seed for the World Match Play provisionally.
Yeah. There's a couple of players that could potentially be dangerous floaters.
As things stand in this cut-off race, have a listen to
140.
this. Gary Anderson, Stephen Bunting, Luke Littler, Jan van Veen, Christopher Tyske, Darryl Gurney, Raymond van Barneveld, Josh Rock, James Wade are all non-seeds.
140. Now we require 161.
Yeah, good luck navigating your way through that draw.
82.
Peterson, 79 for the match, a 4-2 victory.
81. Devon requires 79.
First time we've heard that cry of O'Neill tonight. Might be the last time we hear it too. Tops of Peterson for a hat-trick of victories.
Game shot.
A much
and
better
the
night for the African
Devon
warrior who has
Petersen.
battled and battled and battled away, and he has got the victories that those performances, that grit, that determination has duly deserved. A smile on the face from the African warrior, and it has been a much, much improved night from the first evening's play. It was in vain in the end. 6 points is not enough to send him through. Neil Duff goes through alongside Chaz Barstow and the hometown hero Adam Lipscomb into tomorrow night's final. And what a final we are going to see here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. It is bound to be packed to the rafters. It's bound to be loud, proud and vibrant. And myself and Chris Mason are going to have our first preview on that and a look back at the night's action when we return after this short break.
I think we both stand by what we said. I certainly feel if Devon Petersen would have had a full week here, things could have been so different because he started to fancy it and he took some good sculpts tonight and some good performances, plenty of 180s in there, some high quality finishing. That was 4 from 9 there against Neil Duff. Yes, it may not have been the opponents at their absolute best because they were probably out on their feet, especially Neil Duff. That was his 23rd match this week, and he came through a grueling Group A, and it's been a tough Group B.
It certainly has, but he is through to tomorrow night's final, and he just has this ability at peaking at the right time in a week. He did exactly that this evening. Didn't just get the job done, he got it done emphatically.
Yeah, he can play himself into form, can't he? He's just got this. He's got it down to a fine art now. I mean, I remember talking to him about on many occasions where, like I said, he usually has the week off before to make sure he comes in fresh, and he doesn't panic. He's not that type of guy. He's got so much belief in his own ability and so much belief he can get himself where he's around where he needs to be. My goodness, didn't he throw some good stuff this evening, and certainly in this group. He
most certainly did. Another player through some excellent stuff was Adam Lipscomb, and he's going to be buoyed on by a real raucous home crowd. Put it this way, it's quiet in here now, but tomorrow night I think this soundproof glass is going to get a bit of a test.
Yeah, I do believe we're going to be doing the presentation from the stage. I don't think I think we'll all have to have earsings. I don't think we'll be able to hear ourselves think. It's gonna be lively in here. That's the kind of thing that the Super Series needs, and people need to come and enjoy the atmosphere. It's really unique, real intimate, great opportunity to meet the players and fans alike, and it's just a great environment. It's got a great feel to this place when it's full. I'll never forget the first Champions Week final that Luke Littler made. They were literally hanging off the balconies. It was we had to present from the balcony, and it was certainly a new experience.
Yeah, well, it was a new experience because they're actually shouting your name in the crowd, weren't they? Well,
something like that.
Well, yeah, let's not go into even though we're late on the night, we won't go into the extreme details. Chaz Barstow is the other player to make it through tonight, but you get the sense he's going to have to sharpen up tomorrow.
Yeah, listen, there's signs there that, we heard the whispers of how well he's been playing of late in the local league and Super League and the singles league tournaments he plays in. And there's signs there of that, but he's a little bit too hit and miss, and I think consistency will be key. I know everybody thinks it's the Scott Taylor show and he's just got to turn up. I think if you're off your game by 10 or 15% tomorrow, any of them that is, I think you'll get punished. I think steady away will win the day. Well, let's dot the I's, cross the T's, show you the league table at the end of proceedings. So it's Duff from Lipscomb, from Barstow. There you're free. And actually, if Devon Petersen won that first match tonight, he may have given himself a chance, but the legs difference, unfortunately, was the damage on day one of that particular group. So that is how that particular group ends. Let's show you now how the rest of the week is going to pan out in terms of tomorrow night's final, because we now know the groups for that final tomorrow. Now, this is our first look at it. Group 1, Scott Taylor, Steve Hine, Adam Lipscomb. Group 2, Joe Croft, Chaz Barstow, Neil Duff. What's your initial thoughts on these? Yeah, Group 2 is a real toughie, isn't it? With Joe Croft in there, Chaz Barstow, Neil Duff. Chaz and Joe, very similar really. We've just seen flashes of their brilliant best, but not quite the consistency there. Neil Duff, I don't think will be too fearful of that group tomorrow. I don't think any of them will be, to be honest. And I don't think Scott Taylor will mind his group particularly much. Steve Hine, although I've been super impressed with some of his stuff, again, it's just that level of consistency. And I listen, it's not going to be 100 averages that wins this tomorrow night. It's going to be someone who can just sit in there rock solid around 92, 93. I think that gets the job done.
And Scott's played in front of the biggest crowd you can have here on a Champions League finals night. So Adam Lipscomb's mob of support shouldn't really faze him, should it?
No, and listen, they're all dart fans. They come from they come from darting pubs. They won't be. We don't have any of that nonsense where they're cheering out when the other player's on the hockey. There's noise in between visits. It's old school, how it should be. Let the players duke it out, and the best player will win, not who has the most support. But it will be. Well, I think it's a double-edged sword for Adam. It's going to come with pressure, but he's going to love every minute of it.
We're really looking forward to tomorrow now, aren't we?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Well, I shall see you tomorrow night, spick and span, suited, booted, ready for the big night.
I'll see you at 5.
I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow as well here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth as week 4 comes to a culmination and we've got a perennial winner in the final. Neil Duff tends to send his best stuff for last and it could well be a soap opera ending for Duff.
Slightly out of
the
form
second
and
leg.
running into a
Duff.
very hot Neil Duff.
Mentioned this 1-2-6 earlier, has to start in the 19s this time. Double 6. Well, he saved his best shot
shot
right
and
at the
the
end
match.
in Neil Duff. Colin McGarry was superb in his demolition of Young Bram.
Yeah, that was
First load.